You are welcomed back to the second episode of our story. If this story struck a chord, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here on True Crime Case File, we uncover the truth behind every silence, the untold, the unseen, and the unforgettable. Rich woman refused to sit beside a black man on a plane. Instantly regrets it. Part 2. The terminal was bright, almost painfully so. Evelyn blinked against the flood of light as she followed the voice that had called to her. "Ma'am, over here please," said a young airport security officer, his tone respectful but urgent. She hesitated, glancing toward the exit where Dr. Marcus Hill had disappeared moments earlier. Something inside her ached to go after him, to apologize, to tell him she'd learned something, finally. But the officer insisted. "Please, Mrs. Carter. It's about the passenger from your flight, the one Dr. Hill saved." Evelyn's heels clicked sharply against the polished floor as she followed. Her heart pounded. They turned down a quiet corridor near the medical wing. The sterile air smelled faintly of disinfectant and coffee. A nurse nodded them inside a small waiting area. There, sitting alone by the window, was Dr. Marcus Hill. For a moment, Evelyn froze. He looked different here. Less like the calm hero from the flight, more tired, reflective. He glanced up and their eyes met. "Mrs. Carter," he said softly, standing. Evelyn's voice trembled. "Doctor, I don't even know what to say. You saved that man's life. I should be thanking you and apologizing." He studied her for a long moment, not with judgment but quiet understanding. "Apology accepted," he said simply. Tears welled in her eyes. "You don't even know what I thought of you. What I almost said." "I know," he interrupted gently. "But what matters isn't how you started. It's what you learned along the way." She nodded, silent, ashamed. There was a pause. Then Marcus turned back toward the window. Outside, ambulances flashed red and blue against the gray morning light. Evelyn sat across from him. "Do you always travel alone?" He smiled faintly. "Most of the time. Humanitarian work takes me places. Sometimes home doesn't look like home anymore." His words lingered, something about them heavy with meaning. The door opened, and a nurse stepped in. "Dr. Hill, the patient's family just arrived. They'd like to thank you personally." Marcus nodded, standing. But before leaving, he turned to Evelyn. "Wait here a moment. There's something I think you should see." He left the room. Evelyn's curiosity burned. What could he possibly mean? She looked around. The quiet hum of the air conditioning filled the silence. Her mind replayed the entire flight. Her words, her assumptions, his calmness, his grace. For the first time in her life, Evelyn Carter felt small in a good way. Humbled. Human. 10 minutes later, Marcus returned. But he wasn't alone. A young woman followed him, no older than 30, holding the hand of a little boy. The boy clutched a small teddy bear, his eyes bright and innocent. Marcus knelt to speak to him. "This is Mrs. Carter," he said gently. "She was on the plane with me." The boy smiled shyly. "Hi, ma'am." Evelyn's heart softened instantly. "Hello, sweetheart. You're very brave." The boy grinned. "Mommy said the man who helped Uncle James is a hero." Marcus placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Uncle James is stable now. He's going to make it." The woman nodded tearfully. "We owe you everything, Dr. Hill." "Thank you." Evelyn stood, overwhelmed by the grace of the moment. But something tugged at her, a flicker of recognition in the woman's eyes. She couldn't place it, but it felt familiar. The woman turned to Evelyn. "You look so much like..." She trailed off, unsure whether to continue. Marcus noticed the tension. "Everything okay?" The woman hesitated, then whispered, "I'm sorry. It's just, my mother used to work for someone years ago, in Boston, a Mrs. Evelyn Carter. She was our housekeeper before she passed." Evelyn's breath caught. Her pulse stopped. "My housekeeper's daughter?" she murmured. "Your mother was Grace." The woman nodded slowly, her eyes brimming with emotion. "Grace Hill." Evelyn staggered back, her eyes darting to Marcus, the realization hitting her like thunder. "Grace, Hill, she repeated. Then that means. Marcus's expression softened, though his eyes carried a depth of pain. Yes, he said quietly. Grace Hill was my mother. The room fell silent. The boy clutched Marcus's hand tighter. Evelyn's mouth opened, but no words came out. Memories flooded her mind. Her mansion years ago, a gentle woman with kind eyes folding linens, always humming softly. Grace, Evelyn whispered. She worked for my family for over a decade. She raised my children when I couldn't. She was like family. Marcus looked at her, calm but heavy-hearted. She thought so too, until the day she was let go. Her eyes widened. What? No, I never. She was fired, he said, his voice low but steady. Without warning, after 20 years of loyalty, she came home that night in tears. Said her employer accused her of stealing jewelry. Evelyn's knees weakened. Her heart dropped to her stomach. That's impossible, she whispered. I never accused her of anything. Marcus stepped closer, eyes unwavering. No, but your husband did. The room went still. The faint beeping of monitors echoed in the distance. Evelyn's face drained of color. My husband? Marcus nodded. He was the one who had her arrested. You were out of town. She lost everything that night. Her job, her dignity, her health. He paused, voice trembling slightly for the first time. She died 6 months later. Heart failure. Tears streamed down Evelyn's face. Marcus, I didn't know. I swear to you, I didn't know. Marcus looked at her. Not with hate, but deep, weary sadness. Maybe not, but ignorance doesn't erase the damage. Some wounds don't heal just because time passes. He turned toward the door, the little boy following close behind. Evelyn reached out. Please wait. He stopped but didn't turn. I need to make this right, she said, her voice breaking. Please, tell me how. He hesitated, his back still turned. The air hung heavy between them. Finally, he spoke, low, steady, and cold as truth. You can't bring back the dead, Mrs. Carter, but you can face the living. He walked away, leaving her trembling, clutching her heart as his words echoed in the sterile corridor. The little boy turned back for a moment, staring up at her with innocent eyes. Mommy said good people can still fix bad things, he said softly. You can too. Then they were gone. Evelyn stood there, her reflection shimmering faintly in the glass door. Broken, haunted, and utterly alone. She looked down, and there, on the chair where Marcus had been sitting, was a small, folded envelope. Her name was written across it in neat handwriting. She reached for it with shaking hands, but before she could open it, a voice behind her said, Mrs. Carter, there's something you need to know about Dr. Hill. Her eyes widened. What do you mean? The nurse hesitated, glancing toward the door where Marcus had left. Then quietly, he's not who you think he is. Evelyn froze. What? The nurse's gaze darkened. Dr. Hill didn't just save a life today. He came back to settle something. Watch out for part 3.